What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. So AMD Ryzen 7 9800X3D, 7800X3D, 9700X and 7700X tested at fixed 4.8 GHz frequency. Now guys, by fixing all of these chips to fixed frequency is to test how much of IPC lift we get each generation, and the claims that AMD done was true all along. We are getting IPC uplift generation from 10% up to 35%, and the test was done between the Zen 5 and Zen 4 processors, each locked to the same clock speeds 4.8 GHz. According to the news, it is said that Ryzen 7 9800X3D is 14% faster than the 7800X3D, and that it was more complex than simply lowering the clock speed, as a bug was preventing reviewers from adjusting the multiplier. So they applied a 5 GHz CPU clock offset to achieve the intended speed. Similarly, if we talk about the 7800X3D, that do not support the overclock and multiplier adjustment, they downclocked it by 250 MHz to meet the test requirement. Computer based, the source used 4 models for this test: Ryzen 7700X, 9700X, 7800X3D and 9800X3D, and all were using the same memory type: DDR5 5200 MT per second CL32 kit and an SS ROG X670E Hero motherboard, and test was conducted on Cyberpunk 2077, F124, Homeworld 3, Horizon Forbidden West and Starfield. The most relevant comparison for gamers focus on Zen 5 X3D versus Zen 4 X3D and the respective non-X3D models. Results shows that 7800 X3D is 37% faster than 7700X, while the 9800 X3D is 43% faster than the 9700X. Computer base also noted that even at stock settings, the Zen 5 and Zen 4 X3D processors shows a 15% performance difference, confirming that the X3D models gain more from cache than from clock speeds. Okay guys, next up today is that MSI boosts AMD Ryzen 3D V-Cache CPU with its X3D gaming mode BIOS feature, rolling out to 800 series motherboards. And motherboard manufacturers such as Gigabyte, Aorus and SS rolled out their latest Agesa 1.2.0.2a BIOS firmware, which offers enhanced support for the newly released AMD Ryzen 7 9800X3D CPU. Whereas enabling the turbo mode disables the SMT or CCD, which might help in gaming, as X3D gaming mode features will mostly be beneficial on the Dual-CCD dies such as the Ryzen 9 7950X3D, Ryzen 9 7900X3D and the upcoming Ryzen 9 9950X3D, but even single CCDs can also take the benefit from this feature. The X3D turbo mode used with 9800X3D using RTX 4090 at 1080p on ultra settings. The average FPS went from 290 to 263 in Far Cry 6, that is 20% increase in FPS, and in Shadow of Tomb Raider the increase was 10%. Right now MSI has the X3D gaming mode BIOS feature enabled on 3 of its latest X870, X870E motherboards, which are MEG X870E Godlag, MPG X870E Carbon Wi-Fi and MAG X870 Tomahawk Wi-Fi, and ready for proper rollouts next week. Next up today is that AMD makes big gains in DIY Korean market, reaching 60% CPU market share, while Intel Arrow Lake sees poorer sales in South Korea than the previous gen, reducing Intel CPUs to just 38%, while AMD gains more. It looks like the majority of the users worldwide are opting for AMD more and more, whereas Intel on the other hand messed up their new CPU launch, and the company has promised to bring some optimization to fix the performance at the end of this month. AMD has made significant progress by outselling Intel CPU, and the same is seen in the South Korea DIY market, where the AMD witnessed a significant increase in AMD CPU sales. According to the latest report by Dawana, via ZTNet, AMD has reached 62% of the total CPU sales, which is a straight 6% jump compared to the shares in July this year. Compared to the previous year, AMD has made quite big gains, coming from the 41% CPU market share to a good 62%. Intel, on the other hand, has dropped just to 38% in the last week, and as per an official, one of the reasons why users are avoiding Core Ultra 200S CPUs is because of the possibility that the next gen Intel CPUs won't use the LGA1851 socket motherboards. And to be honest guys, according to my point of view, this is the biggest point I will and the others would also try to avoid the Core Ultra 200 Series S. And as per another official, Intel Core Ultra 200S CPUs are seeing poorer sales compared to the previous gen. And on the top of that, the Ryzen 7 9800 X3D launch has been the final nail in the coffin. Here is another one news for today is that AMD Radeon RX 8000 RDNA for mobile GPUs including 16, 12 and 8GB variants up to 175 TGP and is expected to launch 4 variants of the Radeon RX 8000. And according to Golden Pick upgrade pack at Bilibili shared details of the SKUs that are expected in AMD RX 8000 mobile family based on RDNA 4 architecture. The R25M for mobile E6 and E4, these are Navi 48, where E6 and E4 is 16 and 12GB and 256 and 192 bit respectively. And R25M P6 and P4 are based on Navi 44, where P6 and P4 are based 8GB and 128-bit GPUs. According to BenchLife, that had previously shared the report, 4 variants, but those were part of the desktop family. The main difference between these you can see is the D and M suffixes, with the formerly referring to desktop and the later referring to the mobile variants. The Navi 48, which has 2 SKUs, R24D, E8 and E6, and Navi 44 also have 2 SKUs, which are R25D, P8 and P4. Now guys, the first 2 SKUs are going to replace the Radeon RX 7900M Navi 31 and RX 7800M Navi 32 GPUs. The R25M E6 SKU would feature a 16GB and 256-bit memory configuration with a TDP of 80 to 175 watt. The second SKU, the R25M E4, would feature a 12GB and 192-bit memory configuration with a TDP of 80 to 175 watt. Also, as per the memory configuration, these 2 SKUs are likely based on the Navi 48 GPU, with the former using the XT and the latter using the XL variant. Next up are the likely 2 Navi 44 SKUs, which will replace the entry-level RX 7600M XT and RX 7600M GPUs based on the RDNA 3 Navi 33 graphics architecture. And these SKUs, the R25M P6 and the R25M P4, will utilize an 8GB and 128-bit memory configuration with a TDP range of 75 to 155 watt for the higher end XT SKU and 50 to 130 watt for the XL SKUs. It is not known that the mobile RDNA GPUs will retain the same memory speeds as the desktop variants, but if I guess they will go with the 18, 19 or even 20GB per second speed DDR6 memory, and it's highly unlikely that they will use DDR7 like the Nvidia use into its 550 or 5000 series, whatever you say, and I could be wrong, but that's what my guess is.